Hello and welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. My name is Don Pelto and I am here today with Jim McDannald. We are going to chat. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Don. How's it going?
Good. So Jim and I, we put together this whole Podiatry Practice Mastery thing, and we're kind of following up. What's it been? Has it been about almost like 6 months now that we put this together?
Yeah, we talked about kind of collaborating in some fashion at the end of 2020, and then we kind of put together the website and have kind of been contributing to it on and off for the last 6 months.
So I'm from Minnesota, and when we say something, we means you have a turd in your pocket because you did all the website and I didn't do anything. Okay, so you did the website. That's why your funny face is when they log it into the mastermind part.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I don't think I would have created this on my own. Like we talked about when we kind of got together over our love of, podiatry technology and practice management, that you can only push so hard kind of by yourself. And, whether, it's nice to have a relay or a teammate sometimes to either bounce ideas off of or just kind of create some content that we think would be valuable for our peers and colleagues. So.
Yeah. And so I think, after about 6 months here, we're coming up on 6 months. I think it's good to kind of go through, and this is something I do in my personal practice as well. I kind of look at, what's working, what's not working, and what are some things that we could kind of do in the future. So I guess I can start in terms of what's working. I'm finally starting to get, after about 6 months, getting some feedback from people. And they're saying that the content is something that's valuable, that's beneficial. Like these rants that I do on the podcast, like 5 or 10 minutes a morning. I just do that on my morning ride. Some people are liking those. The interviews, people I think are liking, but they're more video and no one has time to watch video, they tell me. And so that's why there's a podcast format. And then the whole membership thing, no one's really giving me any feedback. So I don't know if they like it, if they don't like it. I've added some more content in there. Have you gotten any other feedback?
Yes, I think you bring up some interesting points, right? It's like as far as the type of content we're providing for podiatrists, what's gonna fit in their daily schedule. Like I think you mentioned to me, and I don't mind sharing that, sometimes time is of the essence. So we're kind of time poor in a way.
I'm time poor. Your time, like extravaganting in Canada and just doing, you're playing with your kids when I'm finishing my clinic and I'm so upset.
It's not quite that easy, but I mean, I definitely have a little bit more flexibility now that I'm not in clinical practice. But I think you bring up good points, is that like that I when I'm trying to make content or try to help out podiatrists, it's kind of like, when are those windows of time and what format of content is really going to be beneficial. I think that's when, your podcast and kind of those quick 5-10 minute audio segments are really helpful, because someone can listen to them during lunch, someone can listen to them to or from the office. Video, even things like Clubhouse and other things require, your direct attention and really having to listen. But a podcast is something that's kind of like a nice snack, and especially the format you've created, I think it makes it listenable, but also some actionable tips. So, when people are, trying to transfer, making stuff on the internet for their patients, they need to figure out where those, what type of patients they want to treat, and then try to find those channels or those outposts where those people are hanging out, and then, kind of giving them in a format that they would like to consume in a way.
Yeah. So I think those are some of the things that are working, what we're doing. Anything else that you think that's working well with what we've done in the last 6 months? You get any feedback from people or what you particularly see?
Well, I think what we've done, at least in the first 6 months, is just provide a lot of like value, like kind of for free in a way. Like
people told you that, like no one tells me anything. So have they told you that? Has it been? I've had two people tell me it's valuable.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a few emails here and there, and then I can tell sometimes looking a little bit at the metrics that Kajabi, the platform we use, it shows us that people are visiting certain pages. I think, I like your short little video newsletters. I think
that
once a week.
Thing? Yeah.
In the links, I think the links are helpful to help educate folks. I think there's so much out there in a digital realm or practice management realm. It can be, one of the challenges that I have, and I sometimes see you as a like-minded person, is like, there's so many different things you can do there. It's just kind of focusing on what's going to create either an impact for the podiatrists we're talking with, or just with their, giving them some strategies that'll, and some kind of principles as far as things that they can use and take actionable steps to kind of improve the processes, be more efficient. I think, that's part of the challenge now, is like, I think we have around 250 people that are on the email list in that ballpark, and I have about 100 with podiatry podiatry growth. So we have a small segment of folks that listen to us and read our emails and enjoy the content. So the fact that people are opening it at least is a sign to me that they haven't deleted or unsubscribed is a positive sign.
Well, and you're the metric guy. That's the nice thing. You bring up, you look at, oh, Don, you told me the other day there's a 30% open rate. I'm like, what does that mean? And you're like, well, that's pretty good, because most things don't get so it's good we're making content that people are opening. I've talked to Alan over at Present, and he says there's a pretty good open rate of the ones there. So those are good things. Let's talk about the things that flopped. Okay. I think the group sessions flopped. Besides the group sessions flopping, I think the first rendition of the website was kind of, all it was basically a squeeze page to get email. And I've tried to add some stuff in there now, some like recommendations and where people can log in. So I edited that. But the group sessions, I think it was a good thing to try, but frankly, I think everyone's too busy during lunch hours. And I tried to do it during my lunch hour, and I think no one just showed up. So I'm trying to think of like, is there another way you could do this, or how can we improve on that almost like asynchronistically? Like, even I was talking to Cindy, who does her little thing on Mondays at 8 p.m. Cindy Pezza, right?
Mhm.
It's like a Monday at 8 p.m. I don't want to spend Monday 8 p.m. with Cindy, and I don't think anyone wants to spend it with me. So are there any other ways that, like, I don't know, that's what I'm thinking, like how we can improve on that, or anything else that you think flopped that we didn't do so well on?
Well, I mean, like I said, I think the first 6 months is just trying to provide some value and try to put content out there. And I think you bring up a good point that, by making some stuff that was before the kind of opt-in email stuff, it kind of gave people maybe a reason to do that, or just give them something that didn't necessarily have to fork over their email for. The sessions to me were just kind of like, obviously kind of a bit of a test to see kind of, do people want to kind of collaborate mostly on the East Coast kind of in real time? I think the max session we had maybe around 15 to 20 people at one time, and maybe average around 10 was probably the average. But
no one said, it was like,
right. Well, was our expectations, that we were thinking that people would really want to collaborate, but maybe they get busy during the day, and like lunchtime is just a chance to kind of like offload and just watch something and learn a little something, but not necessarily have to kind of put the energy out there during their lunchtime, because they're getting ready to see more patients go off to the surgery center. Like we talked a little bit about some paid courses, and like maybe it's because I've dropped the ball, or I haven't been.
You did, just so you know, because you're the website guy. You dropped the ball, just letting you know.
Progressing that forward, but I think it's also a bit of a challenge to see what are those topics that our peers and colleagues really want to learn about, right? Like, what are the things that they either have time for and then they want to try to do themselves? Because I think you and I are kind of people that want to like know the how-to and the specifics and really drill into the details, but somebody else might just want to learn a high-level understanding of what a Google ad is, or what is this SEO stuff, and just have a general knowledge of it. So when they either seek a outside source or an outside expert, they have someone that they can at least speak intelligently with to make sure they're not getting the wool kind of pulled over their eyes. So it's like there's a huge spectrum of different types of content we create, but it's just trying to find that type of content that would be helpful to the people that are on our lists and that visit our websites, to make sure that we're delivering something that is of value to them, like you said, as opposed to like drilling too much in the details. I think I told you this a little bit. I think a lot of the tools that you and I take kind of for granted, things like Calendly or Zoom, for someone that's maybe been in practice for longer than us, they're still trying to figure out how to share their screen, or
you're right.
The basics of some of these platforms are a little bit more techy than we maybe give them credit for.
No, I think you're on there. I think because it's like anything. It's like the more you play around with stuff, the more you figure it out, and you kind of play more, and they all just laugh at me here, because I was talking to Larry Hupman, and he's like, Don, you're the one that could appreciate this. He sent me like his two lights and his professional mic and everything he's doing. And like, I appreciate that. I think a lot of people, like you said, they might just want to know, well, who can I pay to do this stuff? Or like, what's the easiest thing? Like a case in point, like I'm all about my presentation things, but like what I started to do now, I just put my presentations on an iPad and I make a little introduction. I say, watch this 10-minute video, and I leave the room, because I learned that from Neil Baum, and it's made my life so much easier. And so if I was a doctor, heck, I don't want to learn how to do Don's presentations. Just give me a recording of his presentation and I'll just let my patient play it and I'm done. Like, pay a little bit for that, and it's solved. Or like these other things. So I agree with you. I think going forward, so we're at 6 months. For the next 6 months, like, I wanted to talk about like maybe what you think would be good. I want to talk about what I think would be good. A couple of my thoughts are, could we do, so two things I want to do. One is, I think people generally are lazy, because I'm lazy. Okay. And I think, like, no matter how much content we put out, like these half-hour interviews, even though they're half hours once a week, people don't have time to watch them. Podcasts, people don't have time. So I think the only way to really make people do something is to do a boot camp, in my opinion. And I know you were talking about Tyson. Tyson has a great boot camp, but I think going forward, developing some type of a boot camp, we could have like a beginner's boot camp and then an advanced boot camp, and basically somehow incentivize it for people to do the work. Because that's the thing about a boot camp. The one I go to, if I don't show up, I pay extra, or, I pay to go. And then if I don't show up, I pay extra. And I think you can just push people more, and you like define a time. Let's say it's a 4-week boot camp on this topic. So that's one of my ideas going forward. And so if you guys are listening to this, if you're interested in a boot camp, let us know. So, but what I think would be cool is, like, let's say we had a boot camp on, I don't know, a shockwave, or a boot camp on something else, or on marketing or something. I'm not exactly sure, but then you'd pay so much, but it would push you to do like much more than you would do on your own. Like, if you just say, oh, watch these videos, or I put them in according to category, it really is up to you if you're going to listen to them or not. But if you have like skin in the game, and you're part of this group, so we could like start it all, like almost like a competition. Like, we could start it all, let's say, I don't know, July 1st, we're starting the Podiatry Practice Mastery Bootcamp Challenge. Okay. Everyone loves challenges. Okay. We have this challenge. We put it out there for 10 people, and we measure the results, like how you did 3 months later or something like that. That's what I think a boot camp would be one thing. And then another thing I want to figure out how to do would be to do a mastermind. A couple of people have asked me, they said, Don, I'd like to be part of your mastermind. Problem is, I'm time poor. And so I don't have like Thursday afternoons or Mondays now to do that. But the thing is, no one else does. None of my other colleagues, like, we're all in the same boat now. So I was thinking about, somehow, is there a way we could do an asynchronous mastermind, like almost via Clubhouse or via WhatsApp, or even via our actual Kajabi site? Could you do a mastermind within there that you could limit it to 10 people, and then somehow have a way of talking? And I think phones are the easiest way. That's why I was thinking about WhatsApp. We could put questions, but you'd need like a facilitator. So those are my two things going forward: a boot camp and a mastermind. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, like, I think those are interesting ideas for sure.
You just say that to be polite.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with all that, because, like,
thank you.
You being the time poor person, like, you just added, like, in my mind, you added like 10 or 15 more hours of work to your week. And I think it's noble. I think it's a noble cause to want to teach folks or have these kind of specific things. But, like, it almost sounds to me like a learning session or a live session that you just had talked about not really enjoying that experience. So obviously, taking lessons from those sessions. No, I'm serious. Like, maybe you can take some lessons and find a ways to asynchronously do it that would be less time consuming. But to me, there's like a kind of an odd similarity between what you want to do and what we've kind of done. So it seems similar, but what I would do, and if I was in charge of your time, is that, like, you just basically already set it. And it's that video or the slide share and the templated based things. Like, you are a master of Athena Health or Athena Care, that EMR. And selfishly, and maybe you don't want to do it, and you've already actually done a lot of this, is to kind of share your knowledge around a very specific topic like that. And whether it's a course or it's just something you want to do, a Athena Care, like, boot camp type thing, like, but like some way that you feel like is worth your time and something you're excited talking about, or that can be, it's kind of sold as like an evergreen product in a way, whether you're selling all your templates or you're providing all those like slide share videos in a way that helps other people, and you're there to answer questions or maybe fill in gaps for people. But focusing on something like that that's a little bit behind the scenes, in a smaller project, doesn't be something massive to start off with, but that's what I see is, we try to do some live stuff and we try to do some of the kind of the learnings and stuff. But I think some processes or some software or some kind of something that could kind of level up you're already an expert in these areas, but help other people with the same problems kind of address some of the things and find some of the efficiencies. I think that's one of the reasons that you started started the Podiatry Practice Mastery, is to try to find ways to help our colleagues find those efficiencies and find some accountability. And I think you have a certain level of knowledge in different areas. If you can just kind of channel that into
I'm filled
something.
with a lot of useless knowledge in a lot of areas.
No, I'm not saying that. You're just a man of many talents and many interests, which is good. It's just trying to stay focused on long enough. I mean, I've had ideas now, you talk about doing recall campaigns with AthenaCare or patient emails with AthenaCare. There's just lots of different things that people that have that software are not taking advantage of. Because you hear about all these things, but you don't know how to actually implement them. And a lot of things about how to do can be automated to really benefit someone's practice long term. So that's what I see it as opposed to one-off type things or event.
By bright shiny objects.
Well, no, they're exciting. I think other people, like Tyson is doing those things in Australia. I think Lorcan is doing that kind of in the UK. There's a group called the UK private healthcare providers. They have a 200 member group that I sometimes talk with. It has a Facebook meetup every Tuesday to talk about a different topic. There's people that out there doing certain things, but I think it's kind of what you are excited about doing, and just kind of getting a project to kind of completion in a way.
No, this is why it's a team, right? Because I'm very good at filling up all of my time and then some. And I just need, it's nice to have a sounding board. I think that's the benefit of this kind of time together. And you've mentioned this Athena thing quite a few times. And so the nice thing is I'll just make the slides and it'll all be on you to do the products, right? And we'll split the profits, but it's all going to be on you. And you've messed up the first one I did. So, you haven't even finished that one yet.
It's there. It just needs some revision from somebody that doesn't have any time to do it.
From a perfectionist. That's the difference. Done is better than perfect. But so that's where I was thinking, which I was totally wrong. And we're going to scrap those ideas, and maybe I'll take your ideas. Where were you think we would end up in 6 months?
From now, or what am I where we thought we'd be at?
No. Now going forward, what we learned, how we messed up, and where do you see this in 6 months? What are some improvements? We have 250 people on our list.
Right.
Maybe double the list or make a first product, or what are you thinking would be success 6 months from now?
Yeah, I think it starts with kind of maybe sometimes it's nice to survey the audience to see kind of what kind of content or what kind of things that they would find helpful for their practice.
Okay, this is a survey, guys. If you're listening, what type of content would you like? Wait, because we're live. What type of content do you guys want? So tell us, send us an email at don@Podiatry Practice Mastery. Okay, we just surveyed them.
Okay, we sent out the survey,
but no one answers.
But like I said, I think maybe it's wrapping up that first kind of that patient webinars course, just to kind of get it out there and see if there's some uptake with it. That'd be one goal. Maybe the other goal is to figure out kind of what another offering is that you would find interesting. That I have an idea, and I don't know if we'll do it together or not, but it is to build out kind of an educational email sequence about kind of all the things that we do, right? Basically templated emails,
drip
just
sequence.
So to kind of, to give to other podiatrists or to sell to other podiatrists, so they can have every 2 week email one's about plantar fasciitis, or one's about all the different things we treat that can kind of be put into an email system, no matter what people are using, and sent out in an automated fashion. But just trying to find ways to help our colleagues and peers with technology and, practice management topics.
I like that, Jim. And I think the more that the more people can do that for someone, I would if you would say, Don, I'll give you these 50 Word documents with 50 emails in the settings. I would say, I don't want those. You could pay me to take those and I wouldn't take them. But if you said, if you pay me $500 and I'll go in and I'll set that up for you or whatever it is, then I would do that all day long. So I'm just thinking of my end of things, like that is really attractive. If you could say, Don, I'll go into your Kajabi and I'll put these in there, whether like a virtual assistant would do it.
Right.
You could hook that up. That I think that's golden right there. Those drip sequences, because a lot of other people are doing that. I think that's a great one. You could, I think that would be beneficial.
Yeah, just trying to find those areas of value, or trying to find those ways to help podiatrists kind of like get back some of their time, right? Because you probably create the most revenue when you're seeing patients and you're either in the OR, you're doing things like that. So if you can make the time you spent on your website or your marketing or working with your service provider a little bit more time efficient, then that's time you can spend with your family or be outside and go for a run or do something like that. So
cool. Well, I think we kind of know where we're going to go here for the next 6 months. We're not going to do anything that I wanted to do, everything that you wanted to do, and we'll split everything. So the losses, we've been splitting 50-50, and eventually we're going to start charging these 250 people money. I just don't know when. And I think we should set a limit. Like we have a membership and there's no charge. We're at 250. I'm thinking maybe 300, and then we'll charge people $100 for a lifetime. And then when we get, let's say up to 500, then we can start doing this monthly thing that everyone, gets you for. That's where I'm thinking. I think we got to start, because really, Jim, if these people that are listening and they're joining and they're not getting value, if you don't pay, you really don't value, you're not going to do anything with it. And that's the, I don't know if these 250 people that are here are listening, are doing anything with this, but you have to take action. And I think the only way you take action, like going to a conference, when you pay, you actually take action. And that's what I'm hoping. So we might have to start charging for this membership. I just don't know when.
I think you bring up a good point though, too, right? It's what do people actually want to do themselves versus like, what do they want to like outsource to someone they trust? And there's lots of different options out there, with whether it be your marketing or with your software, email, there's a lot of different options. So just kind of like figuring out what works best for each, podiatrist or practice, and kind of, moving forward in those different directions. But I think there's a huge opportunity to help educate our peers and colleagues about what those different options are, so they feel empowered to kind of make decisions, because it can seriously be overwhelming, like what should you do first and what should be the steps, and these kind of things can seem really overwhelming. So I'm sure when they email you, you can kind of send them in the right direction as far as giving them a little bit of feedback that'd be helpful. But it's just a matter of like lining those things up in a proper order and just kind of checking each box as you go, and not being overwhelmed. Because I think everyone wants to sell us things. Everyone wants to like, there's a new software, there's a new social media channel, there's this and that. And you really have to kind of start with kind of first principles before you can really move forward and make a difference in your practice.
Yeah, that's why we're friends, because you're all about the principles and I'm all about bright, shiny objects. And that's why we're a good collaboration. Well, thank you.
I'm just like you, Don. I'm just a little bit further down the road maybe. And but I struggle with these things as well.
Okay. Well, nice chatting. We're gonna chat more a little bit later.
All right. Sounds great.